All right, guys, we made it out here to his shop. I'm gonna go ahead and let him come out here shortly. He's getting some stuff. Uh,
Our good friends over at Comp Cams have provided us with some 26 918 springs for Mr. Juan's truck. So he'll be able to have Valvetrain control of that nice performance comp cam shaft that he has in his motor as we speak.
what's up, guys? We're gonna be going over to Daniel's Speed and Performance Shop where I dropped off the truck. We're gonna be getting a rundown from him as far as what we're gonna be doing or what he's gonna get done. He's gonna go ahead and take care of everything for us from here on out as far as the truck goes, so we can go ahead and get it tuned and get it dynoed. I did have a guy who asked me where he should start at as far as the stock 4.3. My personal opinion is more or less going to be on your budget. Now, the biggest bang for your buck is going to be a nitrous kit, because obviously you're going to get horsepower right out the gate. You do have to keep in mind though that anything over a 75 shot, you're going to have to get a tune. Now, with that being said, as far as tuning goes, if you get a cam, you're also going to have to get a tune, because it's probably not going to be running right. So you have to keep that in mind as well. Me personally, I went the route where I got everything installed so that everything can get tuned together all at once. That way you're not having to do a tune for the nitrous, cam, exhaust, so on and so forth. So keep that in mind. I will suggest that y'all go ahead and get this done by somebody who knows how to do it. Now, obviously me and my buddy Kenny, we went ahead and installed everything in his garage and all that good stuff, and cam and everything went good. As far as the nitrous kit goes, I will say that was probably my fault as far as cutting some corners. I did probably, purchase some undergauge wire, or we decided to not do some relays on it. He's going to go ahead and put relays on it. He's going to get it done right. He's going to be putting his work on my truck. Obviously his name is going to be on here, so we want everything to be done correctly. I know that that's what he would want. So keep that in mind whenever y'all are doing this. I'm not saying that y'all can't do everything in-house. If you have the knowledge and you can do it, go ahead and do it. Me, as far as the spraying the truck and all that good stuff, obviously we just went ahead and threw it together so we can try to get it done. We knew that this was probably going to be something that we're going to have to come back and visit, but just for the moment, we were trying to get it done right then and there. But it came back to bite me in the ass as far as cutting corners on that end. That was on me. But you live and you learn. So y'all not out there, wasting money and doing all that good stuff. Do your research. Make sure you get what you got to get, or take it to somebody who knows how to do it. That's just my personal opinion right now. Now, I will be asking him as far as where somebody should start at, and where what would be the best route to go whenever you're starting off as far as this goes. Obviously everything's going to depend on what your ultimate goal is right off the gate. If it is sound, obviously exhaust. If you're looking for performance, you're looking either cam, or maybe port and polish heads, whatever. I'm going to go ahead and let him explain, or what y'all should do as far as where y'all want to start at. Again, for me personally, it's just going to be, y'all got to look at y'all's budget and where y'all want to start. Pick a starting point and then go from there. I will say this is just from a good friend. This is what he said, my boy Kenny. Whenever you want to go fast, man, it's not going to be cheap sometimes, so keep that in mind. Sometimes stuff starts to come up and you're going to be, wasting money here and there, so keep that in mind. Going fast is going to cost you a little bit of cash. So anyways, I'll see y'all whenever I get up there. I'll go ahead and let him talk about it. I will get his opinion on where you should start, and if anybody lives around the Kingwood area here in Houston, Conroe, Woodlands, if y'all need to contact him personally, we'll go ahead and get his phone number. The shop, it's called Daniel's Speed and Performance, so y'all can look it up if y'all need to contact him. And I'll see y'all up there whenever I get there. All right, guys, we made it out here to his shop. I'm gonna go ahead and let him come out here shortly. He's getting some stuff. Uh, I got a really good feeling about it. Honestly, looks can be deceiving, and I will tell y'all why here shortly. So let's get it. You guys remember when I said that looks can be deceiving? This is probably the biggest deceiver. When I first pulled up, I just thought it was a car that they had took apart.
Oh no, this is what we call a sleeper, guys.
Dude, literally.
In the process of the build, can't say who, but
Yeah.
I will say this much.
Ooh, shit. Yeah.
This system has a Holley Terminator Max system on it, which we installed. We utilize one of Matt Happel's sloppy alternator flex fuel harnesses as well on this Terminator Max system. We built the fuel system for it utilizing Aeromotive products as well as race flux. We're utilizing a 2007 Escalade intake. And I will tell you, the motor's got square port heads. I can't tell you anything else. But I will say, you ought to be a healthy, good product. And it will surprise a lot of people.
Hopefully I don't run into this in the street. Alright guys, this is Daniel.
How you guys doing today? I'm Daniel, the owner of Daniel's Speed and Performance. We've been in the performance industry for 28 years this year. We had established Daniel's Speed and Performance in 2004. We're a veteran-owned and operated business. And we pride ourselves in the motorsport world. Maybe some of you guys may recognize me. I was on Street Outlaws Season 3 No Prep Kings in 2019. I was working with Birdman and Finney for a while, running races all over the country. And as you guys know, we had a bad streak of luck with the Firebird, and just a bunch of things transpired. But anyway, with that being said, let's go ahead and focus on Juan's truck and what we're looking at doing with his truck to get his truck lined out with everything that we have in front of us. I'd like to give a big shout out to our guys over at MSD. They are part of the Holley group. Something that I want to focus on that is really important, whether you're all motor or whether you're everyday driver or you're looking at spraying a nitrous system like Juan's looking to do on his truck. A proper ignition system is something that's really essential. You got to get that energy from the coil down to the plugs. By doing so, MSD, with their superconductor spiral core wires, have the least resistance out of anybody with RFI suppression, 40 to 50 ohms per foot of resistance. So you'll get more energy down to the plug and you'll have a more complete combustion. Another thing I want to point out too, that's really essential, is a good quality coil. A lot of these trucks, as you guys know, have some mileage, usually 100,000 plus. Over time, the ignition coils have a tendency to start to break down and not be as strong as they were when they were new. Well, MSD has a great coil replacement, which actually puts out more energy than the factory coil. It's a plug and play. You have to pull out the rivets from the factory bracket, and they provide some stainless steel screws with some lock nuts. Whether it's part number 8231 from MSD. We are an MSD reseller, Holley dealer, so if you need some help with that, feel free to reach out. I also want to reach out and thank our friends over at Comp Cams, but I'm so excited about Comp and MSD. They make such a great, wonderful product. But something you're going to need when you do these wires, you're going to need this terminal kit. It's for the LT1 back from the early 90s, part number 33028. Which is a boot and terminal kit that you'll need to work on the Vortex style distributor cap as well as coil pack. They come in 8 boots with the terminal ends that come in the package, and that'll allow you to make your custom wires for your application. Now our good friends over at Comp Cams, our good friends over at Comp Cams have provided us with some 26-918 springs for Mr. Juan's truck. So he'll be able to have Valvetrain control with that nice performance comp camshaft that he has in his motor as we speak. They go through a special heat treating process and finish process which makes these things very durable. They are a drop-in to where you can utilize your stock retainer. Being beehive, that would apply to the Vortex truck with the beehive style retainers. And you can utilize your stock keepers as well. Moving further forward, that we'd like to address with Juan's truck, since Juan is going to be utilizing nitrous on his truck for his application for that go-go, surprise the guy next to him. Electric connections and positive connections are really, really important to apply whenever you're doing a nitrous system. I know a person of his that's helped him out with the truck had good intent to help him wire up the truck, but it's really essential to have good positive grounds, good positive leads, and kind of stay away from things like this. Electric connections and power supply for nitrous systems are really critical, because if you don't have a solenoid come on, let's just say for example if a fuel solenoid doesn't come on and you're spraying with nitrous, things can go bad real quick, fast, and in a hurry. So it's essential to have that lined out properly. Another thing that's really important is to not utilize a rubber hose. You want to utilize a braided hose for all your fittings. I know it seems convenient going to the parts store, but it just depends on what you're using as a fuel for your nitrous system, whether it's standalone or what have you. Over time, the rubber hoses will break down, and unfortunately that can cause issues with the solenoids. Since they have little bitty holes in them for the fuel and the nitrous to pass through, it can clog them and cause them to either hang open or not flow properly, which could cause big problems down the line. So we're going to go over Juan's truck. He had reached out to me. There were some folks he was trying to work with on getting it tuned. Fortunately, I was blessed to have a very heavy background in the 4.3 market in the early Cyclone and Typhoon days. Some of you guys may know about the GMC Cyclone and Typhoon, some of y'all may not, but they were a limited run vehicle that GMC produced that actually was beating the Ferrari 348 back in its time in the early 90s in the quarter mile, as well as 0 to 60 foot. Well, they have continued to keep the 4.3 out on the market, and these guys don't unfortunately get enough attention. The 4.3 is a great platform to work with. It is a 3/4 350. A lot of small block Chevrolet parts do work with the 4.3. They have removed cylinder 6 and cylinder 3 in the process. Everything else, all your front drive accessories, bell housing, valves, valve springs, push rods, pistons, stuff like that works in the 4.3 platform. But as I was stating with the electrical, which is really essential and really important, we're going to go through here on Juan's truck and we're going to get all this wiring set up the way it needs to be. We're going to get the electric fans to come on via the computer, which was an option on certain vehicle applications. This truck has a P411 ECU, so we're going to take that, get our signal to make the contact or whatever, and the relays to bring the fans on when they need to, and we'll do that and set that up in the tune, which we'll be utilizing our good friends over at HP Tuners for the tuning software to address the tuning as well as adjust the nitrous side of the tune in this truck, so it's optimal for whatever he puts in front of it. So he's going to need tires and a clutch before too long, I can tell you that.
Mr. Daniel, so I also have been getting a bunch of questions as far as where to start on a stock 4.3 for some of the guys that are starting to get into this build. I know that they've been watching my build, so they've been a little bit inspired to kind of go this route. Again, because, you know, not a lot of people have a lot of money to cough up for LS swaps. So we're trying to show them what we can do with what we got. So what would be your advice as far as, you know, where to start at?
One of the things I find that would be really critical is to make sure that your vehicle is mechanically sound. A lot of people will get busy with life and they'll discard, hey, doing a tune-up. They're like, hey, the vehicle runs fine. But optimally, if you haven't done a tune-up for a while, that would be something that would be really essential to good quality maintenance, good quality oil. Like Mobil 1 is one of our preferred products that we like to use, the full synthetic. It's super reliable. We've put it in race cars, we've put it in street cars. We've had really great luck with it. Mobil 1 makes such a great product. That's why Exxon acquired Mobil 1 and shut down their own oil department and had Mobil 1 take over for that. That's a good direction. Brad Penn has great oil out there. So does Valvetrain. But I'd focus on full synthetics. Another thing with the tune-ups, good quality wires, like we had stated earlier. If your truck's got 100-something thousand plus miles on it, you'll notice a difference utilizing a good quality replacement coil like what I showed you you guys earlier with the MSD coil, as well as the terminal kit and the wires. A good quality spark plug. You can utilize NGKs, which are a really great plug. We're using NGK BR7EFs in Juan's truck since he's going to be spraying nitrous. It is 2 steps colder than the factory heat range on the plug. It's a very inexpensive plug. For you guys that are bolt-on, a TR55 made by NGK, you can go Iridium, you can go a TR6 Iridium, or you can just go with a V-Power TR6 or TR55. One of the things that I also want to emphasize, besides just doing quality maintenance, change your fuel filter, run good quality gas in it, do your normal maintenance regimen. You know, keep checks on stuff. Do your cooling system service. A lot of people don't service their cooling systems, and that ends up leading to bigger problems by neglecting the cooling system. These 4.3s, as we all know, they're a solid good runner, and they'll damn near keep on going forever. But without proper maintenance, you're going to run into issues prematurely, and it's something that usually can be avoided by taking care of it via through maintenance.
Now, as far as the performance-wise goes, what would be your first recommendation as far as the first thing to go? Because I've got a lot of questions as far as, you know, whether somebody should go with a cam, or whether somebody should go with headers and the exhaust, or, you know, just the actual shroud delete to take off that fan, that belt-driven fan, to kind of gain some horsepower. What would be the best way to start off as far as, you know, trying to get into this motor to get some power out of it?
One of the best things I think that would be super budget friendly and essential would be to go ahead and look at freeing up the exhaust. You can do a simple catback system. You can look at doing a cold air or something along for the truck, or a good quality K&N filter. If you're really tight on a budget, you're going to spend money on a filter. You might as well get a replacement that you can reuse and get some life out of it. Stock replacement filters for these trucks range anywhere from 10 to 25 bucks, sometimes more, just depends on where you purchase that. K&N filter can range anywhere from $50 to $75, just depends on where you purchase it at. That is really essential to use a good quality filter, so you'll get some more life out of it. It will help allow it to breathe. The other thing too, like I had mentioned prior with an exhaust system, a good muffler back system's good. If your truck needs cats, you know, a good aftermarket high flow cat would be a good direction to go. If it's off-road only and not used on public highways, or if it's used in Mexico, you know, a header system would be something to look at as an option. After doing so, you know, in terms of bolt-ons, that's when you will reap more benefits from considering and looking at doing a tune. These vehicles, when they are produced, the manufacturers keep everything tamed down a lot, because these engines go literally all over the world, so they don't know what kind of fuel is going to be used. They don't know what kind of environment it's going to be in, so they turn things way down. The potential to gain power with a proper tune, utilizing a proper tuning software like HP Tuners or EFI Live, with a good quality tuner, you know, you can see conservatively 15 to 25 gain at the tire, and sometimes a little bit more if you do a cold air and exhaust. Another thing to consider to look at before you do a tune as well would be to put a cooler thermostat in it. You don't want to put a too cold of a thermostat like a 160, but you want something around like 180, 175, because factory thermostats have a tendency to open up closer to 200 degrees. So you can get a little bit more power out of that by doing so. It still keeps it hot enough to where it'll keep you comfy during the winter, but also keep it hot enough for the computer to work properly.
Sweet. So let's say we go headers and exhaust, and we go ahead and get the cold air intake going. Right after that, we get a tune. What would be the best route next as far as the cam goes? What are your suggestions if you're going to go ahead and throw a cam in, as far as if you're going to go spray or if you're going to go turbo? Because obviously we know that we can't keep stock springs in them. We learned that. So
correct. Stock springs, there are some camshafts out there that can have an NSR, which is no springs required. The problem you run into with that is usually A lot of folks will have something with a lot of miles on it. Those springs have had a lot of heat cycles through them with it running and going down the road and what have you, and mileage on them. It is best to put springs in a vehicle whenever you're doing a cam swap. It allows you to have proper valvetrain control, and secondly, if that camshaft's too big for your factory springs, you can have major problems real quick and real fast running into what's called coil bind. And what coil bind is when the coils actually have no gap in between them, they start to stack on top of each other. That can cause a big headache real fast. It could drop a valve and could just grenade your engine in the process of doing so. So it is always wise to go ahead and take a little more time if you're wanting to do a cam swap. Put it to the side, go ahead and get you some quality valve springs, get you some quality push rods. Take your time. Never be ashamed to ask questions. Questions are how people learn. So if you guys have a question like, hey, I'm doing this and I'm running across this, I'm not sure what to do, feel free to shoot a text or send us a message at Daniel Speed and Performance or Daniel Meek on Facebook at 281-907-2814 and ask a question. We'll always be happy to help to achieve your goals. But one of those things that I really stress is measure twice, cut once. And what I mean by that is take your time. Don't be in a rush to push it through. You're not familiar with it. Nobody's going to get upset about you asking questions. It's essential to do that so you make sure you're going in the right direction and not causing any issues or problems and or having to do the work twice.
Yeah, lesson learned. A little something that we forgot to bring up earlier. This was kind of off-camera conversation that we had. We kind of forgot about this little part, but go ahead, man.
Well, guys, something that's really essential that Juan and I discussed, like you just mentioned too, is head gaskets. Head gaskets are really important, especially if you plan on boosting the application or spraying the application. Given the fact that Juan told me during the cam swap they did not remove the cylinder heads, this truck does have over 100,000 miles. The factory composite head gaskets have a tendency to break down over time through heat cycles and so forth of that nature. When you get to a point to start building cylinder pressure via boost or via spraying it with nitrous, you're going to find weaknesses real quick. Well, none of us like to blow a head gasket, and to help prevent that, not eliminate it completely, but to help prevent that, Velpro makes a quality gasket. The part number is 522SD, which is a multi-layer shim steel head gasket, very similar to the LS9 style head gasket, the ones they use on the LS that will handle a bunch of power. But with the quality of Velpro with the multi-layer steel gasket that they do offer, it'll hold cylinder pressure a bit better. You can utilize ARP head bolt kits for small block Chevrolet. You'll have a few bolts left over because you're missing some cylinders, of course, as what we have with the 4.3. But the bottom row and all the head bolts with the ARP head bolt kit that they have for the small block Chevrolet can be utilized on the 4.3 V6, no problem. You can utilize stock head bolts if you decide to do so, if your budget's a little bit tight. If you plan on really standing on it, I would strongly consider doing what I was stating about utilizing the Velpro 522 SD. That will work on early style 4.3s as well as late model Vortex style 4.3s, V6s. So that's something else to consider. Another thing that I want to point out that's really essential that a lot of people overlook, CRC makes what's called a mass airflow sensor cleaner. That cleaner in itself, believe it or not, even with your filter maintenance, even with your tune-ups and your maintenance on the truck, it's really important to every so often use that CRC mass airflow cleaner and go ahead and clean your mass air sensor. It will make a difference on how the vehicle drives if it is dirty. But I wanted to point that out to you guys, how important that is.
One last thing that I was going to say, in case y'all don't know, Mr. Daniel here also does port and polish work and also custom, what are they, intake manifolds?
We do custom intake manifolds. We do custom camshaft specs for a variety of applications, from flathead Fords to Coyotes, LS to LT to V6. It doesn't matter what it is. We've done the math, and we've been speccing custom camshafts since 1999 for a variety of applications. So much to the point there's been people out there that have mimicked some of our cams and to call them their own, but hey, it's a flattering thing, I guess.
Cool deal.
But if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out and call Daniel Speed and Performance. Like I stated before, we are veteran owned and operated. We can be reached at 281-907-2814. We have a YouTube channel of Daniel Speed and Performance. We're DSP Racing 2.0 on Instagram, and we're Daniel Speed and Performance on Google as well as Facebook. Feel free to ask any questions, and just enjoy your truck, enjoy your car, whatever the application may be. Know that there are people that are out there. I enjoy doing builds like this for customers because it's a passion that we enjoy here at Daniel Speed and Performance.
Anyways, guys, well, if you have any more questions for him, you already know who he is. Like I said, I'm pretty excited. Hopefully we can get some good numbers down on this thing.
Have a good one, guys. Be safe.